A big aspect of this Blerd Pill, something that I always say, is that in life, you should make yourself attractive for the outcome that you desire and learn to intrinsically desire what the other party wants from you, which is you take pleasure within and of yourself in the thing that the other party needs to feel reciprocated, right? But you learn to do that at the right time, in your own timing. But the reason why is because if you do not learn to intrinsically desire what the other party wants from you, then you're going to be in a position where you're doing one of two things, right? Where you are either being manipulated by a person not giving you what it is that you want, and that will cause you to give what they want from you, or you will be manipulated by them giving you what you want and love bombing you, and then you'll give them what you want, right? So, and this works the same on both sides. So let's say, a man and a woman's ego are attached differently, right? A man and a woman's ego are attached differently. So a woman's ego is usually set up to where she wants to avoid guys who want to pump and dump her. And a man's ego is set up where he wants to avoid women who want to use him for his resources, whether that's short-term or long-term. He doesn't want to be used for his time, energy, resources, the different things. He doesn't want to be with a woman who does not sexually desire him, but wants him for other attributes. The issue here is this, and it goes the same, similarly, it goes the same on both sides, but not completely, right? So I'm going to switch it around by what the other genders value. So let's say you're a man, right? When it comes to a woman's desire for you, it's going to be a combination of your masculine energy, your sexual allure. It's primarily a combination of those two things. But then there may also be a little bit of social validation there. Just a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit is going to help. So it's going to be your masculine frame, your energy, and your attractiveness. These things, right? And when it comes to a woman, it's going to be mostly her attractiveness. It's going to be her attractiveness, her femininity, her submissiveness, and these are going to be the primary things. So based off of your ability to exemplify these traits for your respective gender, it's going to be your ability to raise the attraction of the other person. But this is where it gets interesting. Let's say you're in a situation where you're giving the other person what validates them, right? When you're giving the other person what validates them, if they do not have a high enough view of your attractiveness in their mind from the combination of the things that they value within your gender, their internalized definitions of the attributes of your gender, if they don't have a high enough level of attractiveness, then when you give what they want too quick or too easily, it's going to cause them to think that you don't value yourself, or it's going to cause them to devalue you, right? And think that you don't value yourself. So for a woman, and this isn't just about you too, it's about how attractive they see you and also how attractive they see themselves, right? So let's say you're talking to a woman, right? And you're trying to take her out on dates before you establish any type of sexual tension or sexual chemistry. Now, a woman will be happy to take that because she's not used to getting that type of attention. And if she doesn't have the security or the amount of sexual integration in her personality and the way she operates in dating to be able to reject you if she doesn't see you sexually, then she's going to take advantage of that. And maybe she is going to have a mindset where if you do enough, then she is going to have sex with you because you've earned it, right? Deserve it. That's bullshit, right? Sex has nothing to do with earning or deserving it, right? Not unless you're flipping the narrative. That's something I say for guys, and that's something that women really, they like if you really know how to do it. But I'm not getting into that right now. So let's say it's a situation on the other side. Let's say it's a man. There's that man. You give what she wants. Then if you give her those dates, you give her all that validation, then she may feel like you're low value. She may feel like you're low value based off her attractiveness, her internalized definitions of masculinity. But check this out. If she sees you as attractive enough or masculine enough, then you being direct about your desire for a relationship is only going to make you an even better prospect than a man who just came at her just directly for sex. Honestly. And you can come at a woman directly for sex, but also make that a part of it, and then it won't be too much of an issue, right? But this is why I believe it's important to go biology first. You need to make sure that the attraction is there so a person can do the things that would validate your respective gender without that causing you to lose interest, right? So let's say we're looking at a situation where we're talking about a woman, right? So let's say a man, if he isn't integrated, right, with his non-sexual and sexual, if he isn't integrated and he has a Madonna whore complex himself, then if a woman has sex with him on the first date, if he doesn't value himself high enough, and let me go back real quick to the woman part too, if she values herself enough, then she won't see you as wrong for investing in her because she sees herself as someone worth investing in. Right? And likewise for a man, if you value yourself high enough, then you won't judge a woman for sleeping with you on the first date. Because if you were a woman, you would do it today too. If you were a woman, you would do the same thing. It's like, all right, if I was a woman, I would sleep with me on the first date too. So I'm not even tripping on that. I don't judge her for that at all. Actually, there's almost something wrong if she doesn't. Like, what's going on here, right? So this is more so the mindset that you take. Now, if a woman is really submissive with you, but she's not that attractive, you're going to be more inclined to continue dealing with her because she's submissive. But that is, if she's around your wheelhouse, she may even be hurting her chances of pulling you and locking you down, because she may seem like she's desperate. She may seem like she's needy for a relationship or needy for love. And this isn't good for both men nor women. This isn't good on either side, right? And it takes a certain level of integration to handle a person giving you a high level of validation without feeling that it makes you more valuable than them, in a way that means that you should take what they give and take advantage of them and take advantage of their kindness, right? But likewise, what happens to men? If a woman is usually around his wheelhouse, then usually what she'll do is, a lot of women, they'll hold off on sex and give the impression that they're not that sexual. But guess what happens? If that man finds out that she is a very sexual person in the future or in the short term, and he finds that out and he doesn't know, and he thinks that she's not that sexual, doesn't have that much experience, and he finds out otherwise, he's going to feel cheated. Right? If you're a man and you give a woman the impression that you're not looking for a relationship, and then she finds out that you have a wife, she's going to be very upset. Because sometimes what people do is they give the impression that they're not willing to give certain things instead of saying what the reasons actually are. And then when they do that, what happens is the person is investing the things that they're giving. So a man will invest his non-sexual time. A woman will invest her sexual access. And these are the different things that will happen. And what this investment will do is it will build up a certain feeling of entitlement. It'll build up a certain feeling of expectation. It'll build up a certain feeling of anxiety, because you want to see a good return on your investment. See, the blue pill is, in my opinion, the blue pill is built on a basis of a man is making an investment with his non-sexual access, that he's hoping that after he gives her enough validation, after he gives her enough non-sexual access, that he will earn and get her to think logically and make a decision to sleep with him, or that she will be emotionally invested and want to sleep with him, when that emotional investment and that logic has nothing really to do with sexual desire. And one thing I will say that it's a red flag for that a man needs to understand, is that if a woman is overly logical and analytical about her desire to sleep with you, then what will happen in this situation is that you are being emotional and you're being feminine in your energy about choosing to be with a woman for, choosing to trade your non-sexual access to a woman who can pay for her own shit, who can provide for herself, who has dudes who she wants to sleep with just because she wants to sleep with them. You have to understand that. So when you allow a woman to take that logical mindset towards you, where she's waiting to get comfortable before she decides if she's sexually attracted to you, then what you're doing is you're putting a woman in a position where you're allowing her to put you into a Madonna whore complex. Right? This is something to understand. Likewise, when we look at things on the other side, a woman may put in give some down payment pussy, right? That's what I call it. Down payment pussy, or Scooby Snack pussy. It's where a woman is attracted to a guy, she values him, so she wants to give an investment of having sex with that man early on in order to try to lure him into a relationship. But really, the amount of time that it takes to get to know a person well enough to say that you should be in an exclusive relationship realistically is going to be longer than the amount of time it will take for that woman to begin feeling an amount of anxiety about how she feels about the man if he's not showing the desire to be in a relationship. So that's why I believe things should be on a basis of intrinsic value, of intrinsic reward, of inherent value. These are things that need to be understood. When we do things, we need to do things that come from a place of we're doing it because we want to, right? This is something that is very important in my opinion, right? So that's why I believe that it's very important that a man needs to learn his sexual value. He needs to know his non-sexual value, but he also needs to understand his sexual power. A woman needs to understand her own sexual, inherent and intrinsic sexual desire, as well as developing her non-sexual value, right? And it's not about demanding certain things from people, right? When you're in a situation where somebody knows you want something from them, trying to demand what it is that you want from them is not going to get what you want, because everybody's doing that, right? It's a matter of causing them to want to do what it is that you want them to do. Some people say that's manipulation. I don't think so. I think that's influence. You know, it's influence. As a woman, let's say you want to go the biology first approach as a woman. You know, if you want to go that biology first approach as a woman, then, you know, there's a certain level of responsibility that comes with it. There's different ways of going about it. You know, there's different ways of going about it. One, you need to make sure that you're as attractive as you can be for your particular body type and for who you are, for how you're built, for those different things. Because there are going to be some men, there's a lot of men who would sleep with you and you can be within their sexual wheelhouse, but not within their dating wheelhouse. So when you raise your level of attractiveness and then you know how to subtly show wifely qualities and you know how to have intrinsic, true lust and desire for the men that you deal with, as in only dealing with men who you actually can see yourself having sexual desire for, then when you do things this way, you don't give off that needy energy. You don't give off that feeling that you're trading your non-sexual, you don't give off the impression that you're trading sexual access for non-sexual access. You know, if a man feels that, especially a man who's used to feeling real desire, if he feels that, he'll just keep sleeping with you forever because he doesn't actually feel desired, but he's enjoying the access that he's getting, right? Just like a woman, she may not desire to sleep with a dude. You know, a dude who's trading his non-sexual access isn't doing it because he sees those qualities in a woman that makes her worth spending time with. He's doing it because he wants some pussy. And when he's doing it because he wants some pussy, that's not a good idea. That's not a good decision, because he's going to put himself in a position where he's tainting. Everything that he's doing is tainted. It's tainted. It's not true. It doesn't come from a pure place. And it's not based off of the actual chemistry and compatibility between him and that woman. These are things that need to be understood. If this isn't understood, then what'll happen is, this is what leads to a lot of abusive and toxic relationships, honestly. Like, let's say a man is dealing with a woman, you're real young, you start dating, and you don't understand your sexual value, your sexual power. You haven't developed that. You haven't developed your sex appeal. So you're just getting to know that woman, investing, right? But the more you invest in that woman before you sleep with her, if she is trading the validation of sex, she's trading pleasure for validation instead of having intrinsic desire for pleasure, then what will often happen in these instances is that once she starts getting to the place where she's about to open up sexually, she won't be able to fully do it, because if she fully gives herself over sexually into intrinsic desire, then she will lose the ability to maintain control over the situation, and she'll lose the ability to leverage her sexuality in order to get her non-sexual needs met. So, and this is the same thing that may happen with men at times as well on the other side, you know, using these reciprocal analogies. So when we're looking at these situations from this perspective, it's when a man finds himself in that position with a woman, this is where a lot of the red pill comes from, right? This is where a lot of the red pill comes from. This is why I call mine the Blerd Pill. And I'm not somebody who's against the blue or the red pill, but the red pill is built more so on the basis of leveraging a lack of access to your whatever the respective gender wants from you in order to get what you want from them, which is playing on the ego and the desire for validation of the other party. So let's say it's the pink pill or whatever it is. Let's say it's a woman's dating strategies. Her dating strategies are usually going to involve withholding sex from a man who she's dating in order to get him more emotionally invested before they have sex, so that after they do, his ego is going to be wrapped into it, and then he's going to desire to date her, right? Now check this out. All the things that he does to get the sex, everything is fake before sex, pretty much. Unless a person's integrated, everything they do before sex is fake. And if they are integrated, chances are they aren't trying to do anything to earn it, because they know that they have value within and of itself. So this is something to understand. Like, a lot of women, they wonder why a dude will date them and take them on all these dates and spend all this time with them and make all these grand gestures. And then after the man gets the sex, or after he gets it consistently, he stops putting in any effort. It's because he didn't do it because he wanted to. He did it because you put that as a threshold, as a buffer between him and you, in order to feel like you got the validation out of him. Now, when you do things this way, that's your fault. You know, that's your fault when that man loses his interest. Likewise, when a man does that same thing, when he pulls back from putting in all that effort because he got what he wanted, then that's going to put him in a position where now he loses the desire to take care of those things for the woman, and the woman also loses sexual desire from him because it's from a transactional place. And this can often lead to abusive relationships, and I'm going to tell you why. For men, when a man is in this process, he isn't being with that woman from a place of intrinsic desire. He isn't being with that woman from a place of true desire. He's mostly being with her from a place of control. Because she shows sexual control with him, he believes that she will show sexual control with others. So he sees her more so, and this develops that Madonna horror complex. He sees her as a woman who he can put up on a mantle, keep to himself, keep her away from other men, hide her away from the world, to stunt her growth as a human being and as an individual, because he is afraid that if she actually is given the opportunity to experience what's actually going on, what sex can be, that she will leave him. So he may manipulate her in different ways. He may emotionally abuse her. He may even physically abuse her, because his ego can't allow himself to see that woman possibly being in a scenario where a man who's invested less in her than he has is receiving more sexually than he did. But the funny thing about this is this really isn't anybody's fault in the process. I mean, it's everybody's fault, but it's nobody's fault, because a woman could have a full capacity to be sexually attracted to you. A woman could have a capacity for all these things, but because of the dynamic of the relationship, trading pleasure for validation, she can't allow herself to let herself go. Sometimes it's a matter of fear, but that it's a fear of losing control. Right? That's what it is. That's why I emphasize the biology first approach. But I also emphasize that for women as well. And if you want to mitigate risk when it comes to the biology first approach, and you just want to see if there's sexual attraction there at all, then foreplay is a good idea. You know what I mean? You can start with massages, maybe the first link. Maybe the second link you might move up to, mutual masturbation. You might move up to head, and then you eventually go to sex. You don't have to jump straight into sex and have sex with every single person, because there are people with diseases out here, infections, and I don't think that disqualifies somebody from love either. But it does make things more difficult. It would make things more difficult for you to find somebody that you love. So I think that in those instances, you can, move up from massages to, give a woman a foot rub on maybe the first link, and then maybe the second link, you employ some mutual masturbation from the massage, maybe going into some oral sex, be protected as you want to be, or maybe you see what's going on, you go get tested together, do whatever you do to make sure you stay safe in this process. But at the same time, you need to establish that sexual attraction before you get into too much, right? Another way to go forward from there is within your conversations and your interactions. You can, as a man, lead the interaction, see what you have in common. I would say scout a woman out for not only her attractiveness, but to see if any of her tribes overlap with yours, and then use that as an opportunity to create non-sexual intimacy. So let's say that this woman is into anime. I'm into anime. So if I see a woman is thick and she's into anime, then I'm going to approach her sexually, but I'm also going to maybe make some anime references, send some anime gifs, whatever it is. I want to create the possibility for both sexual and non-sexual chemistry when I initially approach a woman, right? When I initially approach a woman, that's how I like to do. And sometimes you can use the things that you're into as a buffer to filter out all the people that you're talking to, right? So let's say, as a man, let's say you have a foot fetish, right? You can use that to filter out if women have the ability to be submissive with you, right? All right, you talk to her a little bit, tell her to send you the pictures, right? Now, I've used this method myself. Most women who would go ahead and send it would be the same women who are fine coming through and doing what you say, right? And the women who aren't sexually attracted to you, this exposes how she sees you. If she isn't sexually attracted to you like that, and she sees you as a lick, or she sees you as a trick, then she's going to ask you for some money. That's how you expose her level of sexual attractiveness for you, right? Let's say you're in a situation, and not everybody agrees with this method, but this is a method that I use, and since I see success, then you can suck my dick. I'm cool, right? But when it comes to these type of scenarios, there's different ways that a woman will do. When you approach a woman sexually up front, or you ask for that type of thing, you expose what the transaction she wants from you is, right? So if she is good with getting a dick pic in return for some feet pics or whatever it is, I know I'm talking some wild stuff right now, but if she's cool with that, and I'm speaking in hypotheticals, right? If she's cool with that transaction, then okay, there may be some sexual attraction there, right? If she's cool trading, if she wants you to pay her, then there's no sexual attraction there. She sees you as the trick, and she's cool being a hoe. If she says, I want to get to know you better first, that means she's not that sexually attracted to you, and she sees your non-sexual investment of time and energy as the transaction that is made for her sexual desire, right? But as a man, you need to learn how to enjoy a woman's non-sexual time for the sake of it. If you do not know how to enjoy a woman's non-sexual time for the sake of it, then you're going to be constantly in a position where the only way you're going to give it is a woman trying to manipulate you with lack of access to sex. Don't do that. Don't do that. Sex and emotions can be blended together with that intimacy, but at the same time, initially they need to be separated. Why? They don't need to be separated because you're on some Madonna whore complex type shit. It needs to be separated so that you can establish which is which and which is where. That's what's important. And being upfront about it, it gives you the opportunity to not get too invested, so that if things don't work out the way you want it to, that you're going to continue to be in some toxic situations that last forever, because that can happen. That can happen. So these are just some things to think about when it comes to intrinsic desire, intrinsic reward, the red pill versus the blue pill. See, the blerd pill is making yourself attractive for the outcome that you desire, and learning to intrinsically desire what the other party wants from you. And just understanding this process is something that works. It's just like in different aspects of life. You can't just go with your hand out expecting things from people that you see as value. You cause them to desire to give that to you. It's like if you're an artist, right? You know what? I'm gonna give a good example. I was listening to this video of MTR and Blue Pill Sam. And Blue Pill Sam said that his mindset was to be a developer, which means that if he sees a little bit of value, he's going to put his energy in, he's going to invest in it so that he can develop that area and bring it up, right? Which is the blue pill mentality. And this is the reason why red pill and blue pill guys often have debates. And this is the reason why Blue Pill Sam be smoking MTR. I love mediocre tutorials and reviews, but he be smoking them. And I'm going to tell you why. He does, because in a lot of cases, the more value-based red pill is just the blue pill, but flipping it to invest less in order to get more out of it. So his mindset is to be an investor, which means that you scout the value, you assess the value, and then you make a wise choice about making and mitigating risk and making an investment in something that is valuable, right? So it's like this guy is going to pay $300 on the first date. This other guy is going to just take it to get coffee, right? Now, how is this going to go, right? Well, neither one of their perspectives was built on developing sexual chemistry with a woman or assessing sexual attraction. And, honestly, Blue Pill Sam's perspective on sexuality is more positive than even MTR's, because Blue Pill Sam doesn't care about a woman's sexual past. That shows sexual confidence. A lot of red pill guys don't display sexual confidence because they're too worried about a woman's past. So when we're looking at it from this perspective, it's you can invest more, upfront, which is the investor. That's the blue pill model. And if you have a natural level of sexual attractiveness, which is what I talk about with the blerd pill, then you develop a certain level of, you can live a perfectly happy blue pill life, right? To a certain extent. Not completely, but a certain extent. And if you are a man who is red pill, then what often happen is you're investing less, and you're going to attract a lot of low-hanging fruit when it comes to women with low self-esteem issues, right? And that's just true. Now, I will say this. More women are alike than they're different. So there's going to be women who are very attractive and women who you would think have high self-esteem who are going to be dealt with. And there are going to be a lot of women who are going to go for the blue pill model who are more just entitled. And you get to avoid those women by going about things the red pill way. So I'm not saying either one is completely right or completely wrong, right? But when your mindset is you're investing less, then a woman who actually has self-esteem is going to look at the situation, and she may just assess it by how attractive she is to you or the other guy. But honestly, looking, if all you have to go off of is here's a coffee date and this is $300 date, well, one woman may feel like that $300 is trying to buy her pussy, and if she has her own money, she may not go for it. But another one be like, oh, that's just coffee. That's not, he's not serious. He's just making a lower investment and expecting more out of it. That just comes off entitled. See, my perspective on it is more so this. While one is an investor and the other one is a developer, I see myself as a creative, as an artist, right? And what does an artist do? What does an artist do? An artist creates the emotion within a person that causes them to want to part ways with their resources, right? An artist creates the desire in that other person to part ways with their resources. And if an artist meets another artist who has skills, then they can collaborate and make art together to allocate those resources from other people, right? And it's not through manipulation. It's not through hurting people or through investing more or investing less. It's more so sweat equity into yourself and understanding how art can affect a person's mind. You have to understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the emotion that is created through creating art, working on your skills, working on your presentation, working on your marketing, and then through that, instead of investing that directly into the person, you're investing that into yourself. And when you invest that into yourself, you create the desire for somebody to give you what it is that you want. So this is the Blerd Pill perspective on intrinsic desire, the importance of it, and just giving a slight review on this debate I saw between Blue Pill Sam and Mediocre Tutorial Reviews. I love both you guys. You know, you're awesome.